Hey, what's up? My name's Ryan.
And I'm Joel. And today we are going to share with you 10 games from each of us that are our favorite short games.
If you kind of like short games, around that half hour mark, maybe sure that you might just love to play as well. So we're just going to go back and forth and share them with you. My first game, my number 10 is a game actually you like quite a bit more than me, but I think it just really embodies the definition of a short game, and that is Coup. Coup is a really fun game where basically you are two people, it's a hidden role game. So you have certain actions that different roles can take, but everyone on the table could just literally be lying at all times. You could say, oh, I am the assassin, I'm going to assassinate your character on your right there, and someone could say, you're not the assassin, you flip it over and you're like, oh, you're not. And basically it has some mechanism. If you catch someone lying, they always die. And the rounds are, depending on how many players, the rounds can be 5, 10, 15 minutes. But again, for me, just really defines just like short, quick hitting genre. Not too many rules, pretty fun to play.
It's pretty cool. Alrighty, my number 10 is a game that you like a lot more than me as well.
Are we doing the correct list?
I don't know. It's not my favorite game, but I think it's one of the better games that I've played that is this short. And this game is Imhotep.
Oh, okay.
I'm guessing this will appear higher on your list. But Imhotep is an interesting game because you are all sailing to these different locations on these little boats, and you need to fill up as many actions as you can on the boats. However, the gimmick, I shouldn't call it a gimmick, but the gimmick is that anyone can sail the boats at any time. So you're not guaranteed that you're going to get what you want stacked on there, and the order you put your guys on a boat matters.
Yeah, the fun part is you actually get to build the monuments of Egypt. So you're the builder, Imhotep, or you're working for him, I think is a theme. And you get to see things like the pyramids get built. The more you put in there, like you actually get to stack up cubes, which are your actions you're taking and doing it. So it's a really satisfying game to play.
It is.
All right, well, I'll just get around to my number 9, I, Dark Overlord. And
no, it's my favorite.
You can't like I, Dark Overlord more than me, I don't think.
I do like it more than
we
you.
like it equally.
I can numerically prove in the next 20 minutes that I like it more than you.
What's your number 1? Okay. I, Dark Overlord, basically it's a deck of cards, and it's sort of a game that's just there to let you be silly. And not many of these games I like. This one I think just hits the right note. If the Overlord says, here's a mission, you failed, and the minions, one of them is going to get killed, or all of them but one are going to get killed.
The one of them's going to get killed.
One of them's going to get killed by the Overlord, and the minions are all trying to basically make him an excuse for why it was their fault. And there are some mechanisms, there's a few things, it's very simple. It's just to be funny.
Withering stare.
Right. And also you have cards you're trying to use as your excuses. You're only like a deck of cards, a minion. You can be like, oh, it says the mystical pool. And you can be like, well, when you fell into the mystical pool, that happened. They had to defend themselves. So it's chaos. It's very short, very fun. It's not a game on this list that you should get if you want strategy. There's not strategy. It's just, this one is just for laughs.
Alrighty, my number 9 continues my trend I'm setting here, 2 games in a row.
Games
like about bluffing.
Oh.
You might like this game more than me too, actually.
Continues the trend.
Yeah. Well, I had Coup.
I say Coup.
Oh, you're right. You say Coup. Wait, what did I say? Imhotep. It was a difficult list to make.
Are you paying attention?
Alright, it continues the trend that you started.
Okay.
And it is a game called The Chameleon.
Ooh,
Chameleon is...
that. Yeah.
I love it. It teaches so easy. Like, anyone can pick it up in minutes. And the whole game is everyone at the table knows a word. Except one person is the chameleon, and they don't know the word. But they don't want everyone else to know that they don't know the word. So, you go in a circle and you say a related word, everyone around the table, to the word, trying to let everyone know that you know what the word is. If you say something too similar, if it's like chocolate and I'm like Hershey bar, it's going to be really obvious. The chameleon's going to know. So I want to say something that really clues in, especially some specific people, that I know what the word is without letting the chameleon know. Because if the chameleon knows what the word is, then we're lost. We can never find out who he is. So
it's a really good game. The chameleon has, the person who is the chameleon, if you do scoring, I believe if at the end of the round, even if you were caught, and everyone caught you, but if you can say, I know you were that card though, you still win, you get 1 point. Instead of like 3. But if you're too subtle, your teammates are like, your clue wasn't very good. I'm like, guys, I'm really not. And sometimes you're like, think about it. You're still think about it some more. Just keep, you'll get there, and sometimes people go, oh, I see that clue there. All right, on to my number 8. Now, my number 8 is probably, no, definitely my favorite game on the list. Just if I was picking a favorite game, I feel like it doesn't quite embody this short game, but it gets a bit of it, so I struggle where to put it. I didn't want to put it number 1, but that is Santorini. Santorini is one of my favorite games of all times. All you're trying to do is move up a few towers and stand on a third level tower and outmaneuver your opponent. That's the only thing in the game. It's pretty fun. Then there are like 30 power cards that add all this extra layers on. There's crazy powers. Oh, I can win if I do this. Well, I can win if I do. I can take 2 moves. I can build 2 buildings. It's very simple. It is a very fast game. If you play 2-player, the rounds are probably 10 minutes or so. You know, they could be as short as 5.
Especially when one person's a lot worse than the other.
Yeah, it really helps.
Really fast.
It does have a little bit of like chess-like strategy, where it is pure strategy, but I mean, in our opinion, I think much better than chess.
My number 8 is a game that I got for you that I still don't own, but I love. It's
Santorini.
the only dexterity game that I enjoy. It's a game called Ice Cool. This is a game.
And it's my number 7, so I'll just talk about both right now.
Is it really?
It really is. Yeah,
It's
it's my very next one up.
Ice Cool is a game where you have a board and some different rooms, and you have this little wobbly penguin that always stays vertical. And you flick them around the rooms, and you're trying to go through enough doors while evading one player who's the hall monitor. The hall monitor swaps every round, and they're really fast rounds. The hall monitor's goal is to hit every player because they're out during class, during school. So if the hall monitor gets people every time he does,
Ice School.
the hall monitor gets a fish or some sort of special fish reward. But the players, while they're going around, if they can get through all 3 of their doors, the first player to get through 3 of the rounds over, and they get the most fish. So it's competitive that way. Everyone gets a turn. Play is really fast, and it's also like a game I've played with children. It was really fun, and a game I've played with only adults, and it was as fun. It's just an awesome game.
People get really into it. It's kind of, you can make the shot, you can flick the penguins on certain sides like billiards, they can rotate, you can try bounce off a wall,
over walls.
you can flick them, hard in the head, jump in the wall. It's a lot of fun, and again, it's that embodies like short. It's like 15 minutes, just like crazy fun, and it's over. So like I said, that was my number 7, your number 8, so that is my 7, so we are right back to your number 7.
All right, well, I'll pass the buck off to myself here and continue on with my number 7, which is a little game where you have to work with all your enemies. And this is a game called Between Two Cities. The setup of the game is you are playing with the players on your left and on your right to build a city. And you want to make both of those cities as good as they possibly can be to compete with the city that you're not a part of. So in a 3-player game, I'll have a city with a person here and a person on my left, but Ryan would have a city with them as well over here. And you get to win based on the lowest score of your cities. A lot of the strategy comes from getting 2 pieces and trying to decide which city you want to be putting it in, because you want to make sure they're both very successful.
Yeah, and just to clarify, you don't want a low score, but your score is the lowest of your 2 cities. So you have a low one on this side, you have a high one over here, but if your high one's higher than your person next to you, the low one, you're going to win because everyone's score is based on the lowest one. Yeah, another great thing about this is a short game that doesn't get much longer with more players. It plays up to
8?
Something. It's really good.
Quite a bit.
It would be on my list, but I've only played it, I think, once. And so I feel like I haven't really experienced it much yet. But I think if
let's stop making this video right now.
This is our top Between Two Cities video. No, not really.
Just do a let's play in the middle.
That wouldn't be weird at all.
It's a 4-hour video because we have to play games in the middle.
All right, so on my number 6. My number 6 is one of the games that, if you were to think about this list, I feel like most people kind of put a game like this on there, and that is King of Tokyo. Basically what happens is you have Tokyo in the middle, and all the monsters are vying for Tokyo. You score victory points if you can hold on to Tokyo, kind of like King of the Hill, you're the only one in there. But while you're in there, everyone else will attack you. So it's very lucky. It's Yahtzee style rolling, which is kind of interesting. That can appeal to lots of people. So you roll the dice and you keep the lightning bolts, or you keep this, but if you can have up to 2 re-rolls, so 3 total rolls.
Yeah, I mean, the key to putting together a list like this is picking 10 good games.
You don't like King of Tokyo?
It's okay. It's okay.
That's very convincing. I would say King of Tokyo, I first tried it as a 2-player game, and I thought it was horrible.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
And I played, I think, again, a 2-player game, and I just gave it up for like 2 years. And then I played it with kids at like 4 players, and I was like, oh, it's chaotic, crazy fun. And it just made a lot more sense to me. So you played it at higher player counts too, I know.
Yeah.
But it was
It's
just
better.
like
It's a lot
a
better.
lot better. A 2-player game was
2-player
very
game's
much.
not fun.
It was. They should not be a 2-player game.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not. The box might say 2 on there. It's a lie. What do you got?
My number 6 is a
Thank-
game that I objectively like better than you because I have ranked it higher.
Well, I wonder what it is.
What am I giving you right now?
What?
A Withering Stare.
Oh, okay. I actually wasn't following. I was just
Really?
acting like I did. So
Oh, you actually weren't following?
no.
Oh.
I was just hoping that you would fill me in the details before I got exposed, and it didn't work. I got
My
exposed.
number 6 is a game called I, Dark Overlord. Ryan's already explained it. The minions have failed. The Dark Overlord gets to decide who he will be banishing from this world with his Withering Stare. And it's a great game. The rules, everything's made up and the rules don't matter. You throw your Withering Stares when you want to. You yell at people. You tell them they're worthless, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you get to pass the buck when you're playing a minion constantly, like, making an excuse. But it was him who did it, Overlord, please! Or if you're the Dark Overlord, you can put a hood on to really make it better. So, I, Dark Overlord. I think enough's been said about it. It's awesome.
It's really fun. Yep. All right, so my number 5 is not the newest game on the list, but it's a newest game for me. A game I actually just recently tried, even though it's not old, but been around for a few years. That's a game called Concept. So Concept basically is about as wide open as you can get for a board game. The rule book itself even says, we found in playtesting that not keeping score was better. And so it's more fun
Really?
just to, yeah, it's more fun, and it's true. It's more fun just to do the activity. The activity is you have a big board of all these concepts, and they're represented by little graphics. So, you have young and old. So it'll be a little picture of a little tiny, not stick figure, but kind of that kind of art. Young and an old one. You have fictional. You have, what's the opposite of fictional? Real. I don't think it's called real. Historical.
Nonfiction.
Maybe. You have like objects, and you have like light and heavy, and all this stuff. And what you have is one of these games, hundreds of these, where the person draws a card and they're like, I want to get people to guess this word. But you don't say your word, you have concepts. I think what makes it really unique to me is that it's not just you're putting little cubes out on hints, like, okay, my thing is heavy, my thing is this, but you have multiple lines of logic. I think it's called logic in the game, or thoughts. So you could say my core concept is a historical figure. I'm going to say that examples I can prove I know what historical is after figuring that word. So I have a historical figure. Then you might say, okay, here's a related concept, and the related concept is space and a circular object in space that's white. Okay, so something about the moon, but I'm not saying the moon. That's a related concept. So it's really fun. I've had the most fun with this game, just bringing it out, and just everyone sits around and does cards, and I like trying to pick the hardest word I can find, like phrases like, every cloud has a silver lining. Like, how can I make people say those words with just, this preset, I don't know, 40 spaces or so, 40, 50, 60 spaces. Or the board is like non-language dependent because it's just pictures of little things. So, yeah. What do you got?
Sweet. My number 5 is a game that I do like more than you, as you may have suggested earlier.
This is really important to you.
Well, you told me I liked it more than you. That's
Okay.
why I'm bringing it up. It is a bluffing game with hidden roles, and it is called Coup. The most interesting decisions in the game come from when to call someone out, usually. And you can always be lying about yours, but typically you're trying to watch people closely and figure out when they're bluffing, because you pretty much have to bluff in Coup. It doesn't suffer from that bluffing game thing where you can just like not bluff and do great. So it's always interesting when someone like seems like they've done something 6 times as like one roll, and then they're like, actually, this is this other roll. And then you're looking at it like, okay, were they lying before, or did they just start lying now? So it's a great game, really quick. Anyone can learn it, plays fast.
All right, so my number 4 is probably the best-selling game of all my games on my list, and that is
Codenames?
Dominion.
Okay.
Okay.
It's coming up next.
No, it might be. It might be. And I remember when I played Dominion the first time earlier this year, I had avoided it because it kind of was like a big boring game, and I thought this is going to take forever. I think I had seen inside the box one time, and I was like, there are a lot of cards right there, and I just closed it back up, and I was like, I'll do that maybe in 10 years. And then I actually played it, and I was like, whoa, it's so fast. You get to your turn, and you're just like, oh, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to take the 3 gold. But what you're doing in Dominion, it is the definitive deck builder that got made and everyone else is trying to follow it. Basically, I hate to say the word inventive, but it's deck building. What we think of as deck building today. What you do is you have some cards. You go have 5 of them. On your turn, you're going to have so much buying power. Some are going to have victory points. You put them down. You have a stack of a shared pool with your opponents. You're like, I want to buy that card because this card gives me a bonus action every turn. So you eventually go through all your cards. You reshuffle them. When you pull it out, you get your card you bought early, you get extra action, you have a more powerful turn. You go, I want to buy that gold, which gives you 3 more buying power. So as the game goes along, your deck gets better and better and better. And end of the game, your deck itself is holding victory points you've acquired too. So anyways, I was surprised. If you asked me a year ago, if someone said short games, I put Dominion, I'd be like, you're crazy. That game's take forever. But then in my experience, I have played it, I will admit, more on the 2-player side. And the people you play with are playing fast. It can go, if you play people who know what they're doing, they're paying attention on their turn. They already know what they're doing because you can't really stop them. They do it. If you play people who are like, anyways, great game. What do you got?
All right, my number 4 is a game that you like more than me.
Really, this is the theme of this list. Games that we're trying to appease each other.
Okay, but this is a significant game in my life, and you can attest to this. For everyone out there, all you kids watching out at home, you can attest to this.
It's your second old man reference.
I know.
Too. We got themes today.
I know. I hate card games.
Oh.
Almost all of them. There's a few specific I've been able to enjoy. This is honestly a pretty traditional trick-taking game, if you know what that is, which didn't mean anything to me, but until recently. It is a trick-taking game, which is a thing people that play card games know about. This is a game called The Crew. And it is so cool. It takes this horrible, unfun concept called trick-taking that nobody's ever liked. And it puts you all on the same...
They were forced to play it in concentration camps. No one actually wanted to.
Nobody really liked it, but humanity hadn't developed enough to create fun. That's why they were playing trick-taking games of Monopoly.
Trick-taking games are fun.
No. So, but it takes this bad concept and makes it really fun by putting you all on the same team, but you still don't get to see each other's hands. You're trying to reach some goal, which requires specific people to take certain tricks in certain orders. And what a trick is basically you have the highest number out there, or there's also one suit that's trump. But what makes it super spicy is there's 50 missions. I haven't played them all, but they're all
nobody's
ever played it all. And the undiscovered 51st mission? No. It has 50 missions, and they're all different. And some of them are wildly different. Like, I think the coolest one we've hit so far, you get to it, it's like someone's like sick or something.
Has to
it's
stay
like
home.
They can't take any tricks.
Yeah.
So like your whole goal for the mission is don't let that person get a trick. It's not just good for a card game. It's good as a game.
All right, so my number 3 is simply Machikoro, a game that I feel like... Oh no, is that your number 3?
No.
A game that I feel like is just made for this list. It's really short.
It is.
It's really simple. It's not really short. It's not like 5 minutes long. Machikoro, you have some cards in front of you, which is like represents your city or your, I guess, region of the city you're trying to build in. There's a theme somewhere. I think it means Dice City in Japanese or something like that. So I don't quote me on that. Please. If you can match the numbers on your cards, they're going to give you money. When you get that money, you're going to use it in your turn to buy more cards. There's some variance in strategy. It's fairly light, very lucky, but there's some variance in strategy. You can say, oh, hey, I really want to like go for forest this time, or I have some cards that give me cool combos with other cards, or I just want to try to spread out the base and get a lot of like, different cards activating a lot. I can do cards to steal from people, but basically the person who builds just 4 special abilities first wins. It's just a lot of crazy fun. Rounds, once people know how to play, are probably 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And often comes down to that last dice roll. Super exciting. Who's going to get, the right number to win? Again, a lot of chaotic fun. A little King of Tokyo-ish in the chaotic funness, but a little more less monstery and more, we're building a city.
Machikoro is an awesome game. It's so much made for this game and really must be made for a number 3 slot because even though I would consider it a game that we like equally.
Okay.
But it has landed at number 3. Nobody likes it more than the rest. So
okay.
I think we can agree on this one.
We're all equal.
Machikoro.
Buy
it.
Great game. Buy it.
Also, if you make Machikoro, pay me money.
Okay, so my number 2 is a game that I don't think you've heard of.
Codenames?
No.
I mean, Name codes.
No.
Never heard of that.
My number 2 is a game called Just One. So in Just One, what you're going to do is you're going to be given a word. And everyone is trying, it's like this typical game where you're trying to give hints on the word. But the kind of twist on it is everyone knows the word except one person. So let's say Joel doesn't know the word. We're all sitting around the table and we all get to see this word. And the word can be something like movie. We're trying to write down a one-word hint to get Joel to guess the word movie, which sounds really, really easy because everyone at the table does. But the one twist, which is really brilliant, that makes it, I guess it keeps it really simple but also really fun, is that if anyone writes down duplicate clues, they get eliminated. So if you have a word like, piano, and 3 people write down music, those 3 clues have to be put, away, and then you get to see that one. So you can have a round where you end up with like only 1 clue made it. It's fun. It's a game that is infinitely scalable in some ways. You get little pieces of papers. You can play this game. I played it with like 15 people at once, and then you have 15 people. Sometimes like 7 of those or 10 get eliminated. Besides, you get 15 unique clues about Santa Claus that are just so out of your mind different. Then the person kind of pieces it all together. There's only one answer to. So have you played it?
No.
Okay, it's kind of an
Kind of reminds me of categories in the sense of like you might want to pick something obscure, but then that like might not. Maybe not obscure. Like you want to pick something obvious, or like you go for the double. Maybe everyone's going for the double.
Right. And I have played it also always fully cooperatively. Like I played Concept, where everyone is trying to get this person to guess the clue. We're not like being competitive. We're trying to be mean. I've always just done like a fun activity where we're all just let's see if we can get this crazy word. Get a clue down. So I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's a not well enough known party game. I think it's maybe my favorite party game, and it's just not as well known. So that's what I got. What do you got?
All right, my number 2 is, I don't know if it's really a party game, but it's my favorite. It's a game I like more than you. This is a game.
Say anything?
No.
Okay.
I do like that.
My number 10.
My number 2 is a game called Say Any. No. My number 2 is a game called The Resistance.
Okay.
The Resistance is a game where, kind of, if you've played Mafia or One Night, Ultimate Werewolf, you're a group of people. Some of the people are bad in the group. And your goal is to identify these people and not send them on the missions. Because if they get sent on missions, they'll fail the missions. And when you fail missions, you lose the game. And yeah, it's just like a lot of discussion and interaction comes out of like accusing people, overanalyzing people's actions, or just trying to bid for yourself when you know you're good, but you just can't convince anyone at the table. So it is in the social deduction category, like by far my favorite, because you're just there's so much that goes into it. So
yeah. All right. So my number 1, unfortunately, it's already been said, so it won't be exciting. It is The Crew. It's not unfortunate. It's a great game, but The Crew is, for everything you said, really fun. I think one of my favorite things about it has always been that I seem to play with tons of different groups of people. People who played a lot of board games, people who haven't. I actually just got to teach a game again recently to a group, and it was funny because the first time around, people who had played board games are kind of that typical, like, okay, it's fine. Then you kind of get to a few times around the table, and people go like, oh, okay, so I can know you have the blue sticks because you did this and this. It's just so many good experiences with it. And like we said, it's short. You can play 1 round of it. You typically won't play 1 round because 1 round may be 5 minutes. But you can play, 5 missions and just be done. Or you can just play all night long for hours and hours and hours. So my number 1, The Crew.
all right, my number 1 is a game that we just disagree on, I think, because I think this is the perfect short game. It's not my favorite game on this list, but it's the perfect short game. And you already said it. It's Santorini. In my opinion, though it's not my favorite game on my list, it embodies like the perfect short game for me. The only real downside to Santorini is it only plays 2.
It tries to play 3 and 4. It's okay at 3
no,
and 4.
It's not.
I've enjoyed it 3 before.
It's okay if you have a kid who's like, can we be on a team? And you're like, yeah, we could be on a team.
No. Yeah, there are 10 short games. Hopefully, if you're someone who likes short games, or you want to add a couple short games to your collection, or you really, really just find that you enjoy games that are more in that 20, 30, 40-minute range and not like the hour and a half like lots of board games can be.
If you have enjoyed this video, please do us a favor, drop down below, hit the like button, then swing on over, hit the subscribe button while you're there as well, because then when we put out another video, you can see it and not miss it. And it'd be sad if we did another list of 10 short games and you didn't get to see that.
10 top 10 shorter games.
Games that are shorter than our first top 10.
Very meta.
Yeah.
Very, very, very meta. So cool.
All right.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Bye-bye.